We're back. Hello, my fam. Perez Hilton here, the queen of all media, the original influencer, and your number one source for everything. It ends with us saga. Donut Gate did not do much for me, but this does. All of the legal drama is high stakes, and I highly doubt that Justin Baldoni is hands off. Meaning that when a new motion or anything is being submitted to the court, which then we know ends up in the court of public opinion, he is looking that over. So, I previously told you all that the husband of the Sisterhood of the Traveling Plantation actress submitted a motion to be dismissed from the lawsuit. He made a lot of allegations. I won't get into that all because we don't have enough time. He sank his teeth into Dick Pool. I'm in the mood. Dick Pool. I'm sorry. Like right at the very beginning of their response, the snark was... They begin their filing by saying, I've realized that I'm too big to fail at this point. So I just crush my enemies and drink their blood. Ryan Reynolds, July 2024. Now, a couple of things. This is an approach that was spearheaded by Mr. Lively. If you remember, in previous multiple filings, including the complaints, they used Baldoni's own words against him. And now he's doing it back to Scarlett Johansson's ex-husband. However, I like to be fair, and let me give you the full context of this quote. Ryan Reynolds didn't just say, I've realized that I'm too big to fail at this point, so I just crush my enemies and drink their blood. Ryan was actually talking about Hugh Jackman in that quote. He and the Australian actor first worked together in 2007 on X-Men Origins. Remember who he played in that movie? Wade Wilson. Deadpool. Before we got to know Deadpool in his more recent incarnation. So last year, Ryan was talking about Hugh, and he said Hugh was not only great, but kind and grounded and understood the mission of unity on that set and knew everyone's name. And I remember thinking to myself, if I am ever lucky enough to be in his position, I hope I'm just 1/10 of that man. And now that I'm so much bigger than him, I've taken many of those lessons. I've realized that I'm too big to fail at this point, so I just crush my enemies and drink their blood. He was joking. He was joking. But he and his wifey have also used many Baldoni quotes out of context. Fair is fair. Team Baldoni's response to his motion to dismiss continues. Reynolds pretends that the Wayfarer party's first amended complaint fails to set forth any basis for his liability and that he merely acted as a supportive spouse. Not so. The first amended complaint specifically alleges ample facts to support the Wayfarer party's claims against him, based on both his direct actions and his liability as a co-conspirator. The motion to dismiss fails to show the Wayfarer parties fell short of their pleading burden under rule blah, 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 blah. I'm going to skip through the boring parts and get to just the good ones, okay? Let's keep going. Here's the good stuff. Discovery has begun, and we are hearing from Baldoni's team the following. Blah, 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 blah. If our first amended complaint was not sufficient enough, we can amend it, which is freely allowed, and the Wayfarer parties, him, his production company, his producing partner, and everybody else mentioned in the lawsuit, quote, have gained additional information to plead further facts to support each of their claims against Reynolds. Ooh. If and when this does make it to trial in March of 2026, it's gonna be Chef's kiss. Also, they add that even in the unlikely event that the court does dismiss him from the lawsuit, they want to say and let it be known that Reynolds is unable to recover his attorney's fees, as neither California nor New York's anti-SLAPP laws apply here. Basically meaning the lawsuit, the complaint, did have merit. It wasn't an unwarranted, phony, baloney, bogus lawsuit. It's got teeth, like this response does. Bloody, 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 his motion should be denied, or give us the opportunity to add more to our amended complaint. Then they go point by point saying why he actually was involved and a co-conspirator. There is legal standard, blah, blah, blah. He did defame Justin and got him fired. They make the allegation that on July the 15th, dropping a date, they got receipts, I'm sure, Ryan Reynolds called Baldoni's former agent, Danny Greenberg, and referred to Justin as a deranged predator and warned his former agent that Baldoni should not attend It Ends With Us premiere the following month because, quote, no one wants him there. That sounds to me like more than just a supportive spouse. You are not so innocent, Mr. Man. Additionally, they are arguing that he was so hands-on because he was involved in the marketing of the film. Remember, Ryan's marketing company, Maximum Effort, was hired to work on It Ends With Us. And in that capacity, he had a duty not to disparage or harm the film in any way. Sassily, they also argue that Reynolds must have confused the rules of pleading with the rules of evidence. Basically pointing out that there's a difference between what is needed in a pleading of defamation versus what is needed to prove the claim at trial, meaning Justin doesn't have to provide all his evidence at this point in time. They're keeping some secrets. And elsewhere, the lawyers point out several other defamation cases pertaining to statements about a sexual predator in which the motion to dismiss failed. Interestingly, Baldoni did not bring up Nice Pool or any of that drama, even though, remember, Ryan himself did bring it up in his motion to dismiss. Wayfarer make the point that Reynolds cannot argue that his statements were true because this is a fact for the jury to determine the defamation of it all. Also, remember how I mentioned that he brought up some of the things that he said in the past? Well, he wasn't supposed to do that. Reynolds' use of Baldoni's books, YouTube videos, and TED Talks, when filing a motion to dismiss, the motion can only refer to statements in the complaint or amended complaint if there have been any filed. By referencing statements that were not in Baldoni's first amended complaint, Reynolds went beyond the four corners of the first amended complaint, which is not permitted. They reiterate that he did extort Justin Baldoni, that he and his wifey did interfere. Even if William Morris's contracts with the Wayfarer parties were terminable at will, they were undisputedly disrupted. Reynolds is liable for his direct actions as well as by conspiracy. And that's my cutie patootie practicing piano. You got to roll with it, life. And that's basically the gist of it all. We are still waiting for Judge Lyman to rule on a bunch of motions. And when we get those responses, I will be sure to share them all with you. Until then, let's discuss everything here in the comment section. Mwah!